What is going on, you guys? This is all Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you another Assassin's Creed Odyssey video. Now, with this video I'm going to be giving you I'm going to be kind of doing like a little overview slash review on the Fate of Atlantis Episode 1. So I'm not going to just be talking about the DLC itself, but I will be going over the legendary gear that you get, the weapons, and just the overall gameplay and just the world itself of Elysium. So, just go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. So, looking at the map, it doesn't seem like it's very big. It looks pretty small, but the thing is, it might not be a very large map like Greece, but it is a very, I guess, tall, I don't know how to really say it, but I guess it's a tall map. Like, a lot of areas are high up. As you can see, if you can look at the terrain, it's pushed towards me, or like towards the screen, meaning it's really high up. So you can't necessarily climb your way up. You can, but you'd have to take a teleporter or the wings of Hermes. Now, the thing that I kind of had an issue was it was kind of a little frustrating that there was a lot of water all over the place. So that way it took a little longer to get areas. It looked beautiful though. It looked great. The water and everything, the scenery, everything looked great. But you would have to go all the way around to find the Hermes or the wings of Hermes so you can teleport up and then just go wherever. And if you accidentally jumped off, you'd have to go back, or you could just reload your save so you don't have to climb all the way back up. Because let me tell you this, it's gonna take you a few minutes just to climb from the very bottom to the very top, and it's a very long and boring process. But aside from that, I mean, there's a lot of different areas you can go to. They have a few synchronization locations that you can go to, which I would highly recommend picking those up as soon as you can, as soon as possible, because being able to just fast travel with them is definitely going to be useful. But like I said, there are a few like areas you can go to that you can just, I guess, do like the Enigmata Shakas, kill enemies, and just farm ability points. For example, you go to the Marble Maiden Tributes. Doing these will give you a guaranteed +1 ability point, which is really nice, especially for players that don't want to use the exploit, which for sure I 100% get you guys. You don't want to use it because it's going to ruin your fun. So going here to these Marble Maiden Tributes are really nice in getting these ability points. The forts are freaking huge. It's like 3 forts all in one. It's a massive fort. You got like a fort in one area, like down here, and then you got a fort over here and all over here, and it's all combined into one. The amount of enemies though, there's not really that many enemies. Just overall, there's not that many enemies here. At each of the Marble Maiden Tributes, there are enemies there, and there are these things called colossi. And colossi are basically like really tough elites, I guess. They're like gods, but statues, guardians. I don't really know exactly what they are. They're just enemies that hit harder and are a lot stronger and more powerful than the regular enemies. What's cool though about these enemies, the new enemies though, is they have abilities, and their abilities can make it to where you can't even use your own abilities. I guess they call it like the Isu powers or whatever, but if you get hit by it, you can't use your abilities for like 5-10 seconds. And I thought that was a really awesome mechanic with the enemies. It made me actually like move more and whatnot. And yeah, but the thing is, the enemies, fighting mechanics are still the same. I'm not saying it should have been changed. I'm just pointing that out, that you're not really fighting any different type of enemies that you would normally have fought if you were fighting against like Spartans or Athenians or huntresses or whoever. It's still all the same. They don't use their arrows as much. They don't use the bows as much unless you're too far from them or something, or spears. They generally will run up and try to melee you, which is still fine. But yeah, that's really it with the map size and the enemy mechanics. Also, there is going to be areas that you are going to need to go to. There's 4 areas that is going to grant you a keeper insight, and those keeper insights, there's only 4, like I said, are going to grant you enhanced abilities. So the enhanced abilities are going to be these four. So you have the Ares Madness, which obviously is the enhanced ability of Battlecry of Ares. With this, it says summon the full power of Leonidas' unbroken spear for 10 seconds. All attacks deal 35% assassin damage, all enemy attacks are non-lethal, and other abilities are unavailable. Which means every ability you have cannot be used. The only thing that's going to be used is your light attack and heavy attack. Light attack allows you to swing your spear around, or the Leonidas spear. It lets you swing that around, and then the heavy attack will let you throw it into the ground, doing like a nice giant AoE blast, which does a lot of damage as well. What's also nice that it doesn't tell you on here is just using Ares Madness ability will damage enemies. It could possibly, more than likely, it will kill the enemy too, because it just has the most amount of damage, just the highest amount of burst damage out of any ability that I've used, honestly. And then obviously if you would look at the Hero Strike, this would technically be more damage than that. If you were to use it on like a beast or something, that would have definitely done more damage. But the other ones, other enhanced abilities, so there's going to be one for slow time called Chronos Time Warp. I think this one was a little bit useless. Even for a hunter build, I find it pretty useless. I mean, you do get 125% headshot damage, sorry. But I'm just going to go ahead and read it for you guys. Slow time for 5 seconds. Headshots performed during this time extend the duration by 2.5 seconds and increase headshot damage by 125%. Ability wears off after 5 headshots. So, to me, it sounded great until the last part. It said ability wears off after 5 headshots. I think they should not have a limit on that. I think it should just have the duration just be increased every time you hit a headshot, every single time, so you can just stack up the slow time duration. I think that would have been amazing for this, because that would have been awesome. I think 5 headshots is whatever. You can get 5 headshots very quick and very easily, so you could technically run out of your slow time before your regular slow time runs out, which is 10 seconds. If you're looking at it like this, if you do get 4 headshots, that's what, 10 seconds extra right there. So you're looking at 15-second duration in total. If you get that 5th headshot, it's going to cancel it. So to me, I didn't think this was really that impressive at all. The other one is going to be the enhancement for Bull Rush. So it's going to be called Ares Bull Charge. I think this one was definitely an amazing build, or amazing ability. Summon a bull that charges through enemies and knocks them down, dealing 400% warrior damage. So this is really good. I think this would be great for anyone using like a hunter / warrior build, because this is going to be using your warrior damage, so you want to have a high amount of, or a good amount of warrior damage in order to do any damage with this. But it is going to keep, it's basically like a ranged ability. It's like a piercing arrow. It's like, I guess, the Ghost Arrow of Artemis, but instead it knocks down and it hits more enemies. And what I mean by being like a piercing ability is it won't stop at one area, it'll just keep charging, and it has a pretty long distance radius on it. And the reason why I say it's good for hunter builds as well is because this can help you keep the enemies at bay. It'll help you push them away from you, because with this you're still in one spot. You're not pushing yourself forward. You're not getting into melee distance. That's why I think this is a really good ability for, I mean, it's good for any builds anyways, but I thought it was a really good ability. And the last one is going to be the Rain of Destruction's enhancement. Rain of Destruction is definitely one of the worst abilities to have in the game in general, because one, it only does 1 damage to the enemy, not like 1 actual damage, but like hits them 1 time. Even with 1,000,000 arrows falling in the sky, it's only going to hit them once, and I thought that was pretty dumb. And also, it's the regular ability, you have to toggle where you want to locate it at. But what's nice is with the enhancement, it says rain down a burst arrow of arrows in a 3-meter radius around you, dealing 450% hunter damage. That's just the regular ability. Enemies inside the area are stunned for 5 seconds and take crit damage from melee attacks and abilities. Special arrows can be used. this is definitely I would say a must-have for builds, for melee builds in general. What I've noticed though is it doesn't stun everything. It doesn't stun like bigger enemies. It doesn't stun like, I don't think it stuns elites really, but it stuns pretty much anyone else, which is pretty cool, for 5 seconds. But what got me more was the fact that it deals higher crit damage. So you're gonna be able to do a certain amount of more crit damage. You're not guaranteed on hitting crits with it, but if you have a high crit chance, you're gonna be able to put out more crit damage because of that. I wish it told you how much more, like percentage wise, of a crit damage it would give you, but it's like it says, it's only from melee attacks and abilities though. So you have to use abilities, you have to use or melee attacks in order to have that extra or benefit from that crit damage. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the legendary gear. So with the legendary gear, it's all assassin gear, and the gear set you get from it is going to be really good for Ares Madness. I think it's definitely a great engrave to have. Obviously you're not going to want to put this on a gear, because if you do put this on like some other gear, it's only going to be 3-second duration, which I don't think really matters. A 10-second duration to 3 seconds is a big difference. But yeah, with the 10-second duration of Ares Madness, that would put you at 20-second duration for Ares of Madness, which allows you to do a lot more damage for a longer period of time. Now, the gear set alone is not that great. It's pretty bad, honestly. The headpiece is pretty good, assassin damage and 30% with damage with swords, really nice. And then this is when it started to fall. You do have the assassin damage, which is good. It's great for Ares of Madness ability. It's probably the best stat to go for with Ares of Madness. But that crit damage while low health is terrible. And then you have crit damage, good for the torso. This is a really nice legendary chest piece. And then again on the waist, low health crit damage. And then again with the legs, low health crit chance. And the reason why I'm saying it's not good is because, well, one, you have to get low health, which means you're putting yourself at risk. The only way you can keep yourself alive is with the Ares Madness ability, and then you have to get yourself back to full health once it's done, once the duration is done. But I think what would have been better, what I think they need to for sure do, is increase the amount of crit chance and crit damage and damage you can do while at low health. Because if you look at it like this, while you have full health, crit chance while full health, crit damage while full health, both of them having max engraves, they're the same. You'll have 20% crit chance while full health, 20% crit chance while low health. They're the same. And it's like, you don't want to put yourself at a risk, so why would you do that? Why not just easily keep yourself at full health by not getting hit and keeping yourself healed while putting out as much damage as you could with low health? There's no difference. What they could do is they can increase the amount of crit chance, crit damage you're doing. So for example, if you look at just a regular crit chance, base crit chance, it maxes at 10%. Crit chance while full health would go to 20%. Crit chance while low health would go to 30%. And same thing with crit damage. Base crit damage 50%. Crit damage while full health 100%. Crit damage while low health 150%. This would push people to wanting to go with those builds. It would give people a better option, whether you want to play a very risky berserk type build or play just a safer build where you get the same benefits for being at low health. That's just the way I see it with this. So low health to me is just not that great. I know I was talking a lot about that anyways, but now we're going to go on to the bow. So the bow, I think, is a really nice bow, especially with the fact that you get the like, this is a little different knockback on crit bow, charged shot. Not a lot of people go with charge speed, but one of my builds, I actually made a hunter build that I will actually be posting, that it I don't know how to say it. I guess it uses charge speed, utilizes charge speed, that's what it is. It utilizes charge speed so that way you can have a full charge in like 1 to 2 seconds. and it has 100% crit chance as well, with like 700% crit damage. So regardless, you're gonna kill the enemy just with regular arrows, but if you don't, you can knock them back. And if they have a shield, you can shoot at their shield. It's still gonna be considered a crit, and they'll get knocked back. And I thought it was just really fun. So this is more of like a fun build or a fun bow, not necessarily a bow that's gonna make or break your build. Rather, it's just gonna be something fun to use, and it works with abilities as well. Devastating Shot already knocks enemies back, so don't need to worry about that. I think it actually staggers. I don't think it knocks back. But you have things like multi-shot or multi-arrow, where multi-shot, where you can target multiple enemies, charge it for 2 seconds or 1 second, let it go, and multiple enemies are getting knocked back. Or even spread shot can work like that. Doesn't work with Rain of Destruction, unfortunately. They don't get knocked back, so there's that. But yeah, this is a pretty good bow. I thought it was pretty nice. For the sword, it gives you warrior damage, 25% warrior damage, 30% adrenaline per hit, and then you get +2 charges for Ares Bull Charge ability. So I'm just gonna show you what it'll basically look like. I gotta make sure I have the ability on. Yeah. So originally you would only have, oh, never mind, I don't have it on. So originally you would only shoot out one bull charge. Oh my gosh, I still didn't put it on. I just inactivated it. Alright, there we go. So you would normally shoot out one bull out, right? But with the sword, you're gonna shoot 3 bulls, and they're gonna be side by side, which will allow you to hit multiple enemies, rather than just a straight line of one enemy, or not one enemy, but enemies within the line. So I think that was a pretty nice. I thought it was a pretty cool engrave. You can definitely put that on anything else. Now, something to keep in mind is damage to Bull Rush is not going to affect this, because it's technically 2 different abilities. One is just enhanced, the other one is not going to affect the actual damage on this ability. But that's pretty much it with this part. You don't get any new ships or enemies, or not enemies, lieutenants, because, well, it's not available. You can recruit the enemies, but that's only going to go towards the army for Elysium. It's not going to go towards anything else, so there's really no point in recruiting unless it's part of the quest, which it will be a part of the quest. But yeah, so that's it for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and explain or talk about the world itself. Elysium, I did kind of go over it earlier on everything about it, but the thing is, once you finish the storyline in Elysium, there's nothing else to really do to come back here for. Like, there's not that many enemies. There are different areas, locations. If you haven't completed it, you can do those. But aside from that, there's not much to do. The world it feels very empty, at least to me. I think what would have been really nice or good is to have enemies, patrols and whatnot, or just like the I don't remember what they're called, but the Elysium army, like Persephone's army, but Persephone and her army, as well as the good guys or whatever. So you have the bad guys versus good guys conquest battles, where you're always fighting for the good guys, not necessarily the bad guys or whatever. But yeah, they just didn't do much in the world. As you can see, you don't really see anyone walking around. The only areas that have NPCs at them are either certain locations, like the Palace of Colossi, and you have probably NPCs here at the Devoted Followers area, or the whatever this place is called, the Strongholds. You'll have NPCs there and stuff, but it's not anything special. But what is nice is the blacksmith, and I'm just gonna actually go to the blacksmith real quick, and I'll show you why the blacksmith is pretty nice. Alright, so the blacksmith here is, I don't know whether it's bugs or not, but what's nice about the blacksmith is he sells pretty cheap weapons. And here, I'll just show you.
Let me know if you have
So you can go to buy, and all the weapons, as you can see, just purple weapons is 10,061 drachmae. It is very cheap, and if it's level 98, it's going to be less. If it's a blue item you're looking for, it's going to be way, way, way less. So you definitely want to come and check on the vendor here time to time, because, you know, it's going to be really nice to just come and pick these weapons up for a very cheap price. Now, the gear is going to be pretty pricey. As you can see, it just multiplied by 10 times. And I think that's because it's just the regular price of the gear. The weapons, though, if you plan on selling weapons, if you're planning on selling the weapons you get from Elysium, I mean, not just regular daggers. The regular daggers will sell for the normal price. But if you pick up any Elysium items, it's going to sell for 2,000 drachmae if you're selling a purple. If you're selling a blue, I'm not sure, or white. But for the most part, you're not going to get much for selling it. So you'd be better off dismantling it. And dismantling it isn't going to give you much either. So going here to buy and then dismantle isn't going to give you much. You're not getting the regular amount of resources for dismantling. But yeah, I think that would be the only reason why to come back to Elysium, is just to check on this vendor, see what weapons he's selling, and then just leaving. Because, like I said, these are pretty nice weapons to just come in and buy.
I'm glad you stopped by.
So that's pretty much it with this video. There's nothing else really to it. Now, do I think this DLC is worth it? Yeah, I really enjoyed the DLC. It took just this episode alone took probably just as much time as it took me to complete all 3 episodes of the First Blade all in one. The First Blade, it took maybe, I think, 3 hours to complete each episode, and I think that's because they were all in Greece, and you have pretty much all the waypoints, or you would have had most of the waypoints or viewpoints, whatever, synchronization locations. You would have had those, and it would have been easy to just get from one point to the other and whatnot. But with this, you have to go and look throughout everything. You have to go and get the viewpoints, and the puzzles on this DLC is so good. I actually really enjoyed it. There's not that many puzzles. There's not that many mazes. Not really mazes, but just things that make you think. And that's what I've been missing, you know, with just the vanilla version of Odyssey. You don't get that really. Even with running through the labyrinth for the Minotaur, it's the same location, and it's just keep right on the wall. It's not hard. The puzzles in Odyssey were not difficult at all. This one, it wasn't difficult, but it did make you think for a bit. And like, I'm hoping to see more puzzles for later on. The only thing that I really hated was the cliffhanger, but that's obviously to be expected, because there are going to be 3 episodes of this. So this was the first episode. The second episode is going to be coming to us in 6 weeks. It's a pretty long time. And then the last one would be 12 weeks after this one. So in another 6 weeks. So yeah, that's pretty much it with this video. If this helped you out at all, go and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section as well, and I'll try my best to answer them to the best of my ability. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is all Danny Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.